how the air seemed full of fairy forms fluttering around, and how at last a great train passed over that seemed to be guarding their leader to the meadows on the other side, and how he heard soft music floating around as they flew. Excuse me. And how sweet voices sang as they hovered over his head.
Fairy queen, mortal steps on the green. Come away, haste away. Fairies guard your queen. Hither, hither, fairy queen, lest thy silvery wing be seen. Oh, hear the sky fly, fly, fly. Fairies guard your lady queen. Oh, hear the sky fly, fly, fly. Fairies guard your queen. Fairy queen, fairy queen, thou hast passed to the treacherous scene. Now we may down the plain. Oh dear, the daisied queen, lightly, lightly, fairy queen. Trip it gently, or hear the queen. Fairies gay, trip away, round about your lady queen. Fairies gay, trip away, round about your queen.
Poor Elfie mourned their loss the most, and would spend whole hours in looking upon the rose that her playfellow had given her, and singing over it the prettiest airs she had taught her, till at length, when the year's charm had passed away and it began to fade, she planted the stalk in her garden, and there it grew and grew till she could sit under the shade of it and think of her friend Gossamer.
The salad.
A merry young huntsman was once going briskly along through a wood. There came up a little old woman and said to him,
Good day, you seem merry enough, but I am hungry and thirsty. Do pray give me something to eat.
The huntsman took pity on her and put his hand into his pocket and gave her what he had. Then he wanted to go his way, but she took hold of him and said, Listen, my friend, to what I am going to tell you. I will reward you for your kindness. Go your way, and after a little time you will come to a tree where you will see 9 birds sitting on a cloak. Shoot into the midst of them, and one will fall down dead. The cloak will fall too. Take it. It is a wishing cloak, and when you wear it, you will find yourself at any place where you may wish to be. Cut open the dead bird, take out its heart, and keep it, and you will find a piece of gold under your pillow every morning when you rise. It is the bird's heart that will bring you this good luck. The huntsman thanked her and thought to himself, If all this does happen, it will be a fine thing for me. When he had gone, I need to turn the page. 100 steps or so, he heard a screaming and chirping in the branches over him, and looked up and saw the flocks of birds pulling a cloak with their bills and feet, screaming, fighting, and tugging at each other as if each wished to have it for himself. "Well," said the huntsman, "this is wonderful. This happens just as the old woman said." Then he shot into the midst of them so that their feathers flew about. Off went the flock chattering away. Hunt one fell down dead. and the cloak with it. Then the huntsman did as the old woman told him, cut open the bird, took out the heart, and carried the cloak with him. The next morning when he awoke, he lifted up his pillow, and there lay a piece of gold glittering underneath. The same happened next day, and indeed every day when he rose. He heaped up a great deal of gold, and at last thought to himself, of what use is this gold to me whilst I am at home? I will go out and into the world and look about me. Then he took leave of his friends and hung his bag and bow about his neck and went his way. It so happened that his road one day led through a thick wood, and at the end of which was a large castle in a green meadow, and at one of the windows stood an old woman and a very beautiful young lady by her side, looking about them. Now the old woman was a fairy, and said to the young lady,
"There is a young man coming out of the wood who carries a wonderful prize. We must get it away from him, my dear child, for it is more fit for us than him. He has a bird's heart that brings a piece of gold under his pillow every morning."
Meantime, the huntsman came nearer and looked at the lady and said to himself, I have been traveling so long that I should like to go into this castle and rest myself, for I have money enough to pay for anything I want. But the real reason was that he wanted to see more of the beautiful lady. Then he went into the house and was welcomed kindly, and it was not long before he was so much in love that he thought of nothing else but looking at the lady's eyes and doing everything that she wished. Then the old woman said,
"Now is the time for getting the bird's heart."
So the lady stole it away, and he never found any more gold under his pillow, for it lay now under the young lady's. And the old woman took it away every morning. But he was so much in love that he never missed his prize.
"Well," said the old fairy, "we have got the bird's heart, but not the wishing cloak yet. And that we must also get."
Let us leave him that," said the young lady. "He has already lost his wealth." Then the fairy was very angry and said,
"Such a cloak is a very rare and wonderful thing, and I must and will have it."
So she did as the old woman told her, and sat herself at the window and looked about the country and seemed very sorrowful. Then the huntsman said, "Why are you so sad?" "Alas, dear sir," said she, "yonder lies the graphite rock where all the costly diamonds grow. I want so much to go there, so that whenever I think of it, I cannot help being sorrowful, for who can reach it? Only the birds and the flies. Man cannot." "If that's all you grieve," said the huntsman, "I'll take you there with all my heart." So he drew her under his cloak, and the moment he wished to be on the granite mountain, they were both there. The diamonds glittered so on all sides that they were delighted with the sight and picked up the finest. But the old fairy made a deep sleep come upon him, and he said to the young lady, "Let us sit down and rest ourselves a little. I am so tired that I cannot stand any longer." So they sat down, and he laid his head in her lap and fell asleep. And whilst he was ooh, pretty picture. Why are you focusing on that part? That is so random. Sleeping on, she took the cloak from his shoulders, hung it on her own, picked up the diamonds, and wished herself home again. When he awoke and found that his lady had tricked him and left him alone on the wild rock, he said, "Alas, what roguery there is in the world. And there he sat in great grief and fear, not knowing what to do. Now this rock belonged to fierce giants who lived upon it, and as he saw 3 of them striding about, he thought to himself, "I can only save myself by feigning to be asleep." So he laid himself down as if he were sound asleep. When the giants came up to him, the first pushed him with his foot and said, "What worm is this that lies here curled up? Tread upon him and kill him," said the second. "It's not worth the trouble," said the third.